In a world enamored by Hollywood, its celebrities, their paradigms and ideals, is this where it's at? Join me each week as we discover the deeper meaning, an alternate spark to Hollywood's love, paparazzi, relationships, and empowerment. Yes, my friend, I am sparked by Hollywood. Hollywood claims a stage for empowerment. They claim that celebrities will show us how. They will be our prime examples. And yet, isn't there more? We have celebrities amongst us, neighbors, friends, who have a potent story, a strong voice of empowerment as they inspire, help, and change the lives of those around them. Something far beyond what Hollywood can produce. Welcome to the Sparked by Hollywood Empower series. Thanks for joining the Sparked by Hollywood podcast Empower series part 1. I'm super excited about today's guest as we have a great topic in store. Susan Winograd is a pelvic floor therapist. She is the owner of PelvicCore Rehab and Lead Wellness. She's an educator and she embodies an empowering message for all women. So welcome, Susan, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting and I love the topic.
Amazing. Let's dive right in.
Let's do it.
So if you can tell my audience a little bit about yourself, where do you live? What do you do? Just give us a little background, please.
Sure. So I live in Boca Raton, Florida. My husband was born and raised here, and we moved here about a decade ago after being stuck up north for 18 years. And we literally picked up our lives. My husband was a partner in his company, and I had my own company in New York, and we closed everything up and moved to Florida just for a better quality of life. And we've never looked back. It's been amazing. Other than Israel, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I have 4 amazing rock star children and 2 even better grandchildren. And I feel so blessed and grateful that the 2 favorite parts of my life, my family and my work, really allow me to fulfill my life's purpose every day.
That's amazing. I love that. That's incredible that you just have your values aligned like that. You've got your work and you got your family and you've got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I feel super grateful.
That's amazing. So why don't we dive into PelvicCore Rehab and Lead Wellness? I know they're 2 different things. If you can just give us a little background about what you do and why this is so important to you.
Sure. So I'll give you a little bit of a story before we start, just to give everybody a little bit of context. Like I said, I have 4 children. My youngest one is 17 now. When I was pregnant with him, I always worked full time. I was always a mommy. I always was home when my kids left to school, and I was always home ready for dinner when they got home. So that was like my balance, was that I always wanted to work, but I also wanted to be there for my children. And when I was pregnant with him, which was my 4th pregnancy, I was in a lot of pain. It was a really tough pregnancy. I had a lot of back pain. I had a lot of pelvic girdle pain. I had a lot of perineal pressure. And I was just always told, pain during pregnancy is normal. Pain during pregnancy is normal. If it doesn't go away, then we'll take care of it after birth. And I will never forget this scenario where I said, okay, at that point, I was, in orthopedic physical therapy. I didn't know that much. So I was relying on my OBGYN to help me, and I wasn't getting that help. So at that point, counterintuitively enough, even I accepted that, okay, maybe pain during pregnancy is normal. And I was in the mall one day when I was 8 months pregnant. And I remember I was in the Short Hills Mall on the top level, and I called my husband and I said, I am in so much pain, I can't get to the car.
Oh my God.
So yes, I was in agony. I literally was holding on to the railing, and I was really just trying to figure out how I was going to get back to my car so I could get home. Long story short was I did go back to my GYN, and she still didn't offer me any help. And I literally plowed through the rest of my pregnancy. I was scared. I was frustrated. I had a husband who worked nights. I had 3 other children at home, and I had a full-time job. And it was very, very difficult. And after I gave birth to my 4th child, my OBGYN handed me the baby. And at my first 6-week visit, she goes, "We're not going to do this again, are we? You've had like a couple of tough pregnancies." And that story always stuck with me. And I always knew that that propelled me to go into pelvic health and wellness, along with other things. Doors opened up to me to allow me to do that. But I knew that pain wasn't normal during pregnancy. It's common, but it was not normal. I didn't know this then, but now I know. Had I had just a couple of sessions of physical therapy during pregnancy, my pain couldn't have only been better, it could have been completely resolved. And I could have had a seamless 8th and 9th month pregnancy. I could have had a more optimal delivery, and I certainly could have had a better postpartum recovery. I ended up with a pelvic organ prolapse because I didn't get the help I needed. So really, my mission is to let all people know at PelvicCore Rehab, we treat men and women, that pain anywhere is not normal. I always tell my clients that pain is your body's check engine light, right? If your check engine light comes on in your car, what are you going to do? You're going to take your car to the mechanic. It's a signal that something needs to be taken care of. So when you're in pain, it's your body's check engine light communicating with you and telling you, something's going on. Let's take care of it the right way. And I never, ever want one other person, whether it's male or female, to be stuck anywhere because they have pain anywhere. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, and it's common, but it's not normal. And that has sort of been my passion, and my mission is to help people understand the signals of their body, and to help people understand that your body is designed to heal if you approach it in the right way, and also to be your own best advocate, because we have been indoctrinated to take what other people in the health industry at face value. And when we know that there's something going on in our body, we need to advocate fiercely for ourselves until we get the help that we need. So what I always tell my clients is, you better tell me what your goals are, because I am going to be a fierce protector of your goals. So because we can make that happen.
So it sounds like you let your patients, your clients take the lead. Like, tell me what you're feeling in your body, tell me what your goals are, and I will follow that lead.
Yeah, so that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. So I almost don't even call myself their therapist. It is a therapeutic alliance with my clients. It's a partnership. I always tell my clients that I'm their mentor, I'm their coach, but they're the ones that have to do their healing. They need to take ownership of their health. There's actually evidence-based science to show that when people feel like they're self-effective in their healing tools, they have much better outcomes. So as a physical therapist, yes, I very often have to do soft tissue work. I do, certain manual techniques. But I try to empower the client to do as much of the work as they can by themselves, because that is what is empowering, is learning tools to help heal yourself and to listen to the cues of your body.
Amazing. And I just want to point out on the topic of empowering, how you took your moment of weakness and pain, you realized that what you were told by others just wasn't cutting it. And you turn that around to empower others, and you have created such an incredible business. You've been helping people, and now you have this business called Lead Wellness. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. So everything that I've done in my practice has really been born out of what I feel my clients need and how I can help empower them in the best way possible. So And I want to backtrack for a minute. That was a very big defining moment. That mall story was a huge defining moment in my life. Another defining moment, which I think is really, really important to say, because this actually is what propelled me to open PelvicCore Rehab, is that I had another company before PelvicCore Rehab called Home Advantage Rehab, where I was doing concierge orthopedic physical therapy in people's homes.
Mhm.
And I would get referrals for patients that had fallen. So when I went into their homes, I realized very quickly that these clients were not falling because they had balance issues. They were falling because they were running to the bathroom and couldn't make it there in time.
Oh,
So at that
wow.
point, I was treating a little bit of an older demographic. Now my demographic is much younger that I treat. But at that point, I started implementing bowel and bladder retraining and changing these people's lives because either their healthcare providers weren't pointing them in the right direction or they were embarrassed to tell them about it. But those two things together is really what propelled me to reinvent myself and open PelvicCore Rehab. And throughout PelvicCore Rehab, my mission and my vision has always been to educate, empower, and inspire people to help themselves. So, we always tell our clients, we will quarterback your care. We will not leave any stone unturned in order to help our clients. But over time, what I was noticing was that clients still needed nutritional help. Clients were still looking for ways to detoxify their body. They were looking for ways to get rid of inflammation. And I was still having to sort of quarterback their care in so many directions. So that propelled me again to say, okay, there's so much more that I could do for my clients. So I started on this journey, which has definitely been a labor of love, to develop a wellness side of our practice where we've developed 5 foundational and essential components of health, which we call our 5 pillars of health. And they include detoxification, because we truly can't get rid of inflammation or balance our hormones when our liver is not working optimally. We have a nutritional component. We have a nutrition that works for us in our practice now. We have hormone balance, and we have movement, which we're definitely experts in, and mentorship. We've developed an entire online curriculum. So it's an educationally based wellness program where everybody has an individualized approach with those 5 pillars of health, because truly all of them are incredibly essential. And we have several people on the team guiding them, encouraging them, holding them accountable, and making sure that they succeed. And I can tell you that since we've started that, our clients' outcomes have been transformative.
Wow. And that's the feedback you get. Probably you see their health getting better, and they probably are super excited that they're just getting their life back.
Yeah, it's incredible. And when you really get to the root cause, a lot of times people are saying, I didn't come to you for energy, but my energy is better. And all of a sudden I'm sleeping better and my skin looks more vibrant. And I have more clarity of mind. So I think when you really get to the root cause and you clean everything up a little bit and you really then zone in on a focus on what needs to be done, magic happens.
Amazing. I'm curious what that does for you every single time you hear that feedback from other people and each person that you help.
It reaffirms that I have the most amazing job in the world. Like I said, I've always known that I wanted to be a physical therapist. And I really believe that I have 2 purposes in life. One is to show up for my family as best as I can. And the other one is to show up for my patients as best as I can. And I'm absolutely grateful and blessed that I get to do the 2 things that I love most every single day.
Fabulous. This week's episode is sponsored by Classic Jewels, where you can shop for elegant, fine 14-karat sterling silver and fashion jewelry made with diamonds and precious stones all the way from Italy. Head over to classicjewels.com, that's ClassicJewelz.com. And once you've found your piece of bling, head over to the checkout and put in code DEVORA30, DEVORA30 for a 30% discount. I want to head back into the topic of pelvic core health because I know a lot of people think that when they are experiencing issues, then they seek out pelvic core health. But it seems like there's a lot of preventative stuff that people should be aware of, that even if they don't have those red flags or those sirens blaring, they should still seek out health because they can strengthen themselves. Can you talk to us more about that?
Absolutely. So we don't even think twice about going to our annual visit at the doctor, right? We go to the dentist regularly, but for some reason, we don't think about taking care of our pelvic health regularly. And I think that as a community, pelvic health therapists are really, really trying to sort of change that paradigm.
Mhm.
I will start with pregnant women. I firmly believe that every pregnant woman should have an evaluation with a pelvic floor therapist because it is such a time of rapid change in your body. There is so many hormonal fluctuations. I will say this, and I hope my sweet client who is listening to this, I have a sweet client who came to me after her 7th pregnancy. She wanted to go back to running. We very, very quickly resolved that, but she went on to have an 8th, 9th, and 10th pregnancy. And since she had advocated for herself because she wanted to go running, she said, you know what, I'm going to come to you during my next pregnancy. And she said her 8th, 9th, and 10th pregnancy and postpartum recovery were better than her first 7. And
Wow.
that is because we proactively taught her how to continue to use her body in a supportive way throughout pregnancy. We continue to teach her to adapt to all the changes happening in her body so that she could stay supported, so she could stay connected to her entire body, but also her pelvic floor during pregnancy, so she can so much more easily access it and engage with it and reactivate it after pregnancy. So I think that if we just take a simple proactive approach during pregnancy, we won't have to be so reactive when something happens. So I truly, truly believe that. In the postpartum period, it's imperative. That's all I have to say. I have so many sweet ladies that come to me during menopause, and I know that had they come and sought out pelvic health physical therapy after they had their children, they would never be in the position they're in now. You know, our bodies are wired to do what we need to do, right? Whether it's optimal or not, our bodies is going to make it happen because we need to get through life, but it's not always the optimal way. And we develop compensatory patterns, but eventually we run out of compensations. And that's when we start seeing problems like pain and incontinence and everything like that. So I think being proactive about your body is so much better of an investment than being reactive when something happens. Now, that being said, if you do feel something in your body, if you do have a check engine light that comes on, address it right away, because the sooner you address it, the more easily it can be resolved. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely. And I'm wondering, is there like an age that like you recommend people to start with pelvic floor awareness? I know you're saying that pregnant women really need to incorporate that into their health and into their 9-month care, really.
Yeah.
And after that, but how about before that?
Yeah, so I think once females become, or once, people become sexually active, I always think it's a great idea. But certainly if there's somebody young and they're having intimacy issues in any capacity, I think it's a good idea. But usually I would say when someone wants to get pregnant, I think it's great to prepare for pregnancy. When someone's younger, if they have an issue that they should come, I don't necessarily think an 18-year-old girl needs to come to have a pelvic floor assessment unless she feels pain. Or she's sexually active, but certainly when they become pregnant, that's when it's an absolute must.
Amazing. Love it. I want to dive into pregnancy and how Hollywood has an effect on what people think of their bodies post pregnancy. So just imagine the scene. A woman who has given birth 3 weeks earlier, she finds herself in the grocery store. She's picking up ingredients that she needs for dinner. She's exhausted. She's tired. She hasn't slept much the past few weeks. Well, maybe even the past few months. She has her newborn sitting in, snugly in the car seat in the back of the shopping cart. The baby's well taken care of. She's just exhausted. She's planned her trip in between her nursings. She's still feeling the pain from after birth, but obviously she's got to get stuff done. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's got to get food on the table. So she makes her way to the checkout counter. And there she sees the tabloid magazine sitting right there, showing off all the celebrity headlines. And one of the headlines reads, Angelina Jolie showed up at the Thanksgiving party at her pre-body weight after giving birth to twins. And the article goes on to describe how she had a tummy tuck after giving birth. And obviously it shows off her glowing, thin figure in the front page of the magazine. So Susan, we're not all Angelina Jolie, right?
Yeah.
We're not running to our plastic surgeons after giving birth.
No.
Our uterine muscles are weak, they're battered. And not all of us have getting back to the pre-body weight really at the top of our to-do list, right? Most people are probably thrilled to get some solid sleep, take a long hot shower. But the paradigm in Hollywood and what we see around, and some of it might infiltrate into our minds, is worship the thin body. Get back as soon as you can to the thin body. But you have a different message.
Yeah. So I do think it's so important to feel good in your own skin, but that doesn't mean pre-baby weight. I think that it's shameful that we have to sort of get these subliminal subconscious messages all the time. But I think that the most important thing is that you're healthy. You learn how to support your body. Yes, we don't want to undermine that it's important to women to feel good in their bodies. But the bottom line is, Devora, is that our bodies don't always look the same as it does before pregnancy. And I don't think it's always meant to. And that's okay. It's a beautiful thing. And yes, we want to get stronger and we want to optimize our body and we want to feel good in our skin. But to me, that's more about being healthy from the inside out, reconnecting with your pelvic floor, getting your abdominal wall strong so you can lift your toddler so that you can feel strong and supported and like you're generating your power from the right place. Mm-hmm. I think that we all know that the messages we get from Hollywood are not only flawed, they're not only unrealistic. I happen to think some of it is a lot of misinformation. I don't think everything we see is true. I think, we could be at the checkout line and see a Sports Illustrated model with a 75-year-old model on the cover in a bathing suit. And is that what she really looks like? Are they being,
chances are it's been photoshopped. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know what it's called. Have they been photoshopped? And I think it's important to constantly remind ourselves that those are not messages of reality. Those are not realistic, real life people. I feel like none of us have plastic surgeons waiting hand and foot on us, nor should we. And I do want to say that everybody has to do what works best for them. But I see moms all the time who have had the pressure to have mommy makeovers and have had complications because of it. Their scars with their abdominal wall now being so tight that they can't even take a deep breath. And they always end up regretting it. Now, of course, I see that part of it, and I respectfully meet everybody where they're at. But we need to send the message that our bodies after pregnancy may not look exactly the same as it does, but the important thing is that we feel strong and supported and healthy.
And that's okay. Wherever we're at, that's
more
fine.
than okay.
We don't have to use other people as a measuring stick because that's them and we are us. We
Yeah.
had actually spoken previously. You mentioned there was a certain celebrity who was encouraging women to strengthen their uterus by putting something inside, a very peculiar method. Can you tell
Yeah.
us more about this?
Yeah, so there was this was a while ago. There was a celebrity who was encouraging women to sleep with jade eggs in their vagina.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, like, are people really doing this? Like, are we doing things just because a celebrity thinks it's a good idea, who happens to be an actress and who happens to not probably know much about pelvic health?
Yeah.
And I just thought it was such a ridiculous display of how we are influenced by other people all the time. Because when you think about it, what is a jade egg going to do in your vagina when you're sleeping? It's so beyond not functional. And when we always have to remember, and this is what I always encourage people to do, is to question why you're doing something. When you're doing something, understand what the purpose is and understand what the underlying reason that you're doing it for. So when
Yeah.
someone comes to me and says, should I do this? Let's say even someone that could use vaginal weights, they say, are vaginal weights a good idea for me?
Mhm.
And I say, maybe, but what's your goal?
Mm.
Why do you think it may be a good idea? It is a good idea for some people if we use it functionally, but for some people, it may not be appropriate. So I
Mhm.
think no matter what you do in life, especially when it comes to sleeping with jade eggs in your vagina, you really need to like take a step back, because sometimes we look at something in the media or something that a celebrity does, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden, we've all been there. You see like a mascara or a lip gloss that a celebrity is wearing, and you find yourself like clicking on it on Instagram and buying it, and you're like, why did I just do that? Like, I
Right.
don't even know what it does. Take a step back and be mindful and thoughtful about, why are you doing it? What is your end goal and what's your purpose? And then reevaluate whether you want to do it or not. And don't do something like that on your own. I can honestly say I've never had someone that I've met, and of course, I'm talking about a limited sample of people that have tried dilators or have tried vaginal weights on their own and have truly been successful, because it really requires guidance, and
Yeah.
it requires coaching and mentorship and a thoughtfulness as to how you approach it. Everything needs to be individualized.
Yeah, that's incredible. I really like how you come with your pool of knowledge and wisdom, but at the same time, you tell the woman, why are you doing this? What is your why? Understand what's behind it, and then you can guide them.
Right.
It's just beautiful how you're not coming across as I am the professional. Listen to me. It's my word is the final word. It's like, no, 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 it's your body. I'm respecting your journey, and let's go.
Yeah.
Let's be the most optimal in your capacity.
Right. Well, it's so empowering for people to figure it out on their own, right? So when I have a client and I'm working with them and I'm exercising with them, it's almost like a problem solving like session. Like I say, okay, what do you want to do at the gym tomorrow? And if they say I want to jump on the trampoline, I say, well, how are you going to do that without leaking or staying supported and getting enough support out of your core that you need? And everyone like inevitably looks at me like, I thought that was your job to tell me how to do that. And I always say, well, I've taught you the foundational principles. I'm not going to be with you every time you're at the gym. So whenever you're at the gym and you want to do something, because there is no bad exercise, there's just suboptimal technique, and there's exercises that need to modify or exercises that you might not be ready for at the time. But when you are in that position, I want you to be able to think back to what I've taught you and implement it in a way that keeps you supported, and implement it in a way to say, I need to continue to monitor and modify. And if I modify and I still don't feel supported, then maybe I need to back off a little bit for now. But I truly, my goal is to teach people the foundational concepts and have them be bulletproof confident as to how to incorporate it in their life.
Incredible. Amazing. And you also you also educate women in different workshops and stuff. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So I feel like at this point, I'm the workshop queen. Before COVID, I think I gave over 100 workshops in South Florida. I've spoken for the Eden Center in Israel a couple of times. I collaborated with an international online platform called Gold Online Education, and we developed 3 one-hour modules for midwives to make them more aware of pelvic health and wellness and when to refer and what to look for. We constantly give workshops in my clinic all the time. And I've worked for, Healing Hearts in Florida. I've given workshops for them. So truly, I love teaching. I love educating because that's part of my mission is empowering women. You don't know what you don't know, right? Knowledge is power. But if you don't take action, then you're still powerless. So you got to have the knowledge and you got to know how to put it into an action in order to be empowered.
And you got to know to call Susan if you're unsure how to put it into practice.
I'm here. We have an amazing team. We truly, truly have the most talented, amazing team of any other physical therapy practice. I believe that, and I say it completely confidently. We are happy to help.
Fantastic. I'm absolutely blown away by your wisdom, Susan, your wisdom, your knowledge, especially the knowledge that you impart to women to empower them into more awareness of their bodies. Is there one final message that you want to share with my listeners?
Yes. Advocate for yourself, empower yourself. There's a lot of information out there, but there's also a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of lacking information. So advocate for yourself, listen to the check engine lights of your body. Be proactive about your health, not reactive about it. Only be reactive if you need to in that moment, but you only have one body. Take care of it. Pelvic health, your pelvic floor is like any other part of your body. It's skeletal muscle. And the good news is that it responds to physical therapy, just like any other part of your body. And be true to yourself and meet yourself where you're at. And don't compare to yourself to anybody in the tabloids, because truly you're better than that. And you deserve more than that. So that's my message. I encourage everybody to check out my podcast, Your Pelvic Health, because that is truly something that I wanted to do to also help inspire and empower people with accurate information. I just felt like it was my contribution.
Amazing. So you have a podcast, and if my listeners want to get in touch with you, learn more about what you do, how can they reach out?
Sure. So we're pretty much everywhere. My website is PelvicCoreRehab.com. We're on Facebook, at PelvicCore Rehab. We're on Instagram at PelvicCore Rehab. I have a podcast called Your Pelvic Health. We have a YouTube channel called PelviCore Plus, and I do have a private Facebook group called Pelvic Health Plus. Pelvic Health Plus Total Body Wellness. So you can find me in any of those places, and I'm always happy to chat with people and guide them in the right direction.
Are you sure you only have 24 hours in a day? From everything that you mentioned, I'm like, maybe she's got 48.
It's crazy. I need 48.
I love it. Thank you so much, Susan, for your insight that you shared with us today. I'm wishing you an abundance of luck in everything that you do.
Thank you. And thank you for all you do. This podcast is important.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for today's episode. If you are loving the Spark by Hollywood podcast, kindly leave me a 5-star review on the platform that you're listening on. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Sparked by Hollywood. That's where the conversations happen. That's where I give you extra content on all my episodes, and where you can send me your feedback, your comments, and questions. And finally, in a world where we are all enamored by the spark of Hollywood and its celebrities, always remember your own spark that you carry within you, that makes you the gift that the world needs to shine that much brighter. I'll catch you in the next episode.